The film begins with a woman named Sonia who has a nightmare and awakens to it. Sonia lives with her husband and daughter, Violett. Their home is located far from the city in the middle of the woods. Sonia often felt very scared there because her husband is a doctor. He goes to work while Violett goes to school. Afterward, she was left alone at home, and the loneliness was consuming her. As usual, she drops her daughter off at school and returns home, feeling quite disturbed. Then, in the evening, Violett and her dad arrive home, and we notice that despite her husband's presence, Sonia feels distant because he never gives her time. He's always busy, which leads us to assume their relationship isn't going well. All of this is having a profound impact on her. We then see Violett watching Snow White on TV, where the witch is forcibly feeding Snow White the poison apple. After dinner, Sonia puts Violett to bed. Violett tells her, "I want Eva to sleep with me tonight." But Sonia doesn't understand who Eva is. Violett reveals to her that Eva is actually a doll lying under her bed. Sonia looks under the bed and finds the doll the woman gave her. Sonia tells her not to accept gifts from strangers and takes the doll with her. Sonia's mother immediately realizes that she's unhappy here. When Sonia tells her, "I feel like something's wrong with this house," her mother reassures her that everything will be fine. There's nothing to worry about. Seeing Sonia's sadness, her husband asks her what's wrong. She could tell him everything, but Sonia refuses and instead gets irritated. Then, while bathing, she has a dream in which she's in an open space filled with flowers while the radio plays news about children going missing. The next day, she's picking up her daughter from school, and she asks her, "Mom, what happens after death?" Sonia immediately asks why she's asking. Violett explains that a girl in her class said that people die like plants, buried under the soil and never return. Hearing this, Sonia advises her not to dwell on such things and to avoid talking to strangers. The next day, she's home alone again when someone knocks on the door. When she goes outside, she sees an old woman who has brought fruits with her because her tree had fallen too many. She introduces herself as Sonia's neighbor. However, when Sonia refuses to take them, the woman begins to abuse her, saying, "These fruits will make your children healthy and live long, but you don't want them to live long. You want to kill them." Suddenly, the woman's demeanor shifts completely, transforming her into a terrifying figure. And Sonia closes the door. If we look closely at the woman, she looks exactly like the witch from the Snow White show. The scene then shifts, and we see a scene from Sonia's childhood where her father used to run a farm, and Sonia is sitting there drawing. Her drawing depicts a killer with her, and her father becomes angry at her. Surely, she saw something in her childhood that led her to draw it. Here we learn that her father wasn't a good father. He used to beat her a lot and torture her a lot. He was a very cruel man, constantly forcing Sonia to work on the farm. Praise and returns to the present, where Sonia meets her mother. Her mother apologizes because, despite knowing her father was a cruel man, her mother didn't abandon him. Because of this, both of them spent their childhood and youth in great difficulty and hardship. Sonia then has a dream in which she and her daughter Violett are in the same flower-filled field, flying kites together. The scene changes again, where Sonia takes her daughter to a cafe when she sees a news report about children going missing. From then on, she begins to experience strange things around her. She experiences numerous hallucinations. In other words, she was having visions that weren't actually happening. Things around her turned black and white and began playing like a video, like an old movie. Meanwhile, Violett also disappears, and she goes out to look for him, where she sees an ice cream van and a man feeding children severed fingers, and Violett is also there, but it's all just her imagination. But now at night, they're home, where Violett is watching TV. Sonia calls her over and says, "No matter what happens, I won't let anything happen to you." In the next scene, Sonia's Husband takes her and Valet out fishing. But we notice that Valet wasn't very close to her father. She paints with her mother. Afterward, they return home, where Valet shows her mother her painting, which is a bit strange in Twilight. She also has a witch's doll, and it's the same witch who came to deliver the fruit. Hearing this, Sonia understands that she's talking about the lady from that day. The next day, Sonia is dropping her daughter off at school when she notices a painter sitting on the roadside who often paints there. The painter calls her over and insists on seeing his painting. When Sonia sees his painting, it depicts the same children who disappeared. She is terrified, and the painter transforms into a ghost. Frightened, Sonia immediately takes her wallet and runs away. But the next moment, everything returns to normal. It seems as if Sonia's loneliness is driving her completely insane. In other words, she was completely out of her mind. Now, while she's at home, her husband comes to her. He sees Sonia and realizes that she's not well again and asks her what's wrong with her and what he should do to make her fall in love with him. But Sonia says she loves him very much and hugs him. Just then, Sonia remembers a flashback, a time in her past, a time when her father made her work on the farm, denied her food, and then one day she stabbed a goat to death to sacrifice it. Sonia witnessed all this and, terrified, runs away. But then her father catches her and son returns to the present. Things return to normal. Her husband goes to work, Valet goes to school, and Sonia is alone at home. Just then, a plumber arrives at the door to check the fixtures. Sonia lets him in. While he's checking the kitchen, he finds a camera inside. It was Valet's, a gift Sonia had given him on his 10th birthday. But what was he doing there? That was the biggest question. When her husband returns home that night, Sonia tries to tell him everything, but she stops mid-sentence. Then she goes to get the camera, but it's missing from where it was kept. She blames her husband, saying that he did it and took it. Her husband then explains that it's all a figment of her imagination. But then she loses control and starts calling for the valet at the top of her lungs. Her husband stops her, but he appears to Sonia like a demon. Another flashback shows us the time Sonia's father caught her and punished her. He brings a goat skull, and shows it to Sonia, saying that it's not a skull, but a demon, a devil, and that Sonia will stay here tonight. The demon will decide whether she leaves or not. However, her father said all this to scare her. In reality, nothing like that happened. But, of course, children develop a fear and trauma that stays with them even after they grow up. And this is exactly what was happening to Sonia in the present. Sonia was seeing the same demon. In the past, her father would hang the skull and leave her alone. Now, Sonia was feeling very scared and the same demon actually came after her, which was obviously a game of her mind. It was her fear. But then the scene returns to the present, where Sonia is searching for her daughter's wallet. She calls out loudly for it, but the wallet is nowhere to be found. Then, her husband, shocked, says forget about the wallet. Because it's dead. Yes, it will never come back. Meaning, everything we've seen from the beginning. What we've been seeing was happening solely because of Sonia's mind. In reality, Valet wasn't there. She had already disappeared like the other children. Meaning, the moments we saw with Valet going to school, being with Sonia were all just her imaginations. Thoughts and pasts created by her mind. Like Snow White, the doll, the ice cream. Man, the skull, everything. Now Sonia realizes this too, and she breaks down. She falls to the ground and cries loudly. She says if only she had gone to pick Valet up from school that day, all this wouldn't have happened. Her husband tries to take her inside, but she falls asleep outside in the garden. The next day, her husband takes her to a mental hospital where she stays for a few days. Afterward, she is brought back home, and she seems somewhat better now, but some things are still going on in her mind. She believes the plumber is the one who kidnapped her daughter and may have her. But here, Sonia and her husband are living a little better. Her husband says, don't worry. We'll have another child with Violett. But Sonia says Violett never wanted a brother or sister. He just needed good parents. But as for the mother, I could never be a good mother. As her husband heads home, he tells Sonia he's going for a short walk and will return by nightfall. As he leaves, a shovel takes him and heads into the woods. He stops at a spot in the woods and begins digging, only to find a god's skull and Violett's corpse. Yes, it was Violett's grave, where he had come to offer flowers. The shocking revelation is that Violett never disappeared, but was murdered at home. Who did this? His mother or father? We'll only know the answer later. In a flashback, we see Violett find a ghost skull while they were fishing. She kept it because she's always been interested in such things. Her dad tells her to throw it away, but she brings it home and often makes videos with it, using the same camera her mother gifted her for her 10th birthday. One day, her dad forbids her from doing this, but she refuses, and then her dad accidentally kills her. But could that really have happened? Or was the story something else? After Violett's death, her father kept it a secret from Sonia, burying her and telling everyone she'd disappeared. This leads Sonia to believe she's missing. Then, remembering all this, he cries profusely and, shockingly, shoots himself to death. Sonia then sets out to find her husband, where she finds the camera outside the house and keeps it with her. Then we learn that the plumber was actually Sonia's husband, who had changed his base to take the camera because it held a secret that Sonia couldn't bear. After a while, she finds her daughter's grave along with her husband's. Seeing this, she cries profusely. Unsure of what to do, a police team arrives, and Sonia is also sitting there. They check her daughter's camera, and the biggest secret is revealed, which will shock you. We then see a video of the wallet in which she was filming the same skull. Sonia, however, tries to stop her from doing so. She tries to snatch the skull. Meanwhile, the skull's horn accidentally slits the wallet's throat, killing it instantly. When Sonia's husband learns of this, he takes his daughter to the forest and buries her, trying to protect her. He fabricates a story that she was kidnapped. Sonia remains convinced that her daughter is missing. To overcome this, Sonia begins to forget her guilt, creating images of the wallet in her mind, living a false, fabricated life with it. This is why Sonia has been experiencing strange hallucinations, and only now does she realize what she has done. She has committed such a grave crime. This time, in a flower-filled area, she sees a box containing her daughter's body. Sonia also realizes how good her husband was. He took Sonia's guilt upon himself so that she would never suffer, and she should never know anything. Sonia was also saddened by the trauma of her childhood. This led to constant thoughts of her father, who was terribly abusive. All of this combined was driving her insane. These factors were causing her mental imbalance, and Sonia's present-day suffering was exacerbated by the loss of her daughter, a memory she had always harbored. She had also lost her husband, who loved her so much. The poor girl had suffered from childhood through adulthood, and now, after losing her family, she is completely devastated. With this tragic ending, the film concludes.